What's going on, guys? This is Hassan from the Spiritual Walks, and I hope everyone is doing amazing. Habits. We always want to implement and develop particular habits to try and change the old ones. We live in a culture and in an age where we are constantly reminded that we need to better ourselves, that there is so much ways and avenues for self-improvement to achieve the greatest version of ourselves. Work harder, achieve more. And in order to do these things, we've got to develop particular morning routines and particular habits. And that's fair enough. But I wanted to take the time to talk about a particular shift in perspective surrounding this whole self-development movement and the implementation of habits. And I wanted to also look at a particular way in which we actually end up shooting ourselves in the foot if we don't look at this from a different perspective. So, the difficulty in implementing a habit is because of the sudden introduction of change into our life. So, when we look at particular habits like waking up early in the morning, taking cold showers, going on a run, eating healthy, meditation, reading, whatever particular habit you want to perhaps implement, these habits inherently, they are not difficult. It's not difficult to take a cold shower. It's not difficult to go on a run. It's not difficult to wake up early in the morning. None of these things are difficult. The difficulty arises because of the sudden introduction of change. And the difficulty is felt because of the resistance that is faced against that particular change. And this we can see on a macro level and on a micro level. For an example, on a macro level, we see communities and massive pockets of people protesting against the government to change a particular way in which it rules. Or pockets of people try to change in which masses of people already live. And naturally, we know that in the beginning, these particular introductions to change, these protests are faced with a lot of resistance. But we also know that with perseverance and persistence, eventually that change will be implemented. The resistance against that particular change is zeroed out. And so now that becomes the new norm. Until eventually someone else wakes up and wants to change. In the same way, we see this on a micro scale with ourselves. The difficulty is in the resistance that's faced when trying to wake up early in the morning. And the resistance is there because of the old ways of being. There is a sudden shock that is felt when you try to wake up early in the morning. And so the difficulty is not linked with the particular habit or activity itself. It's with the sudden introduction of change. And why is that important to know? It's because when we understand it, naturally the resistance itself becomes a lot more bearable. With understanding, we can transcend the situation. Very often, we are in certain situations where we feel a tremendous amount of fear, like anxiety, for an example. We feel social anxiety when we are around a lot of people. Now, if we really bring ourselves to an understanding of why that fear is there, if we can appreciate that fear for being there to try and protect us, eventually there is a lot less fear in the way that we allow it to be there. We don't resist it anymore. And so in the same way, if you try to implement a habit, understanding why it's difficult, why there is resistance, allows you to implement that habit. But there are many times where we actually tend to shoot ourselves in the foot when implementing a new habit. So for an example, we tell ourselves that we need to become the greatest version of ourselves. We need to achieve a particular goal and be in a particular position in life. And we know that to be in that position, we need to wake up early in the morning, hit the gym, eat healthy, take a cold shower, and get on with our day. Then that is what we consider a good day. We know that this will set us up and optimize us to be the greatest version of ourselves to achieve our goals. But we also tell ourselves that if we don't do this, we are not good enough. Now, we may not actually vocally tell ourselves this, but at the very least, we subconsciously tell ourselves this or something similar. And this is where we shoot ourselves in the foot. Because now you are in a position where the old ways of being, the old ways, which was at the very least half decent, we didn't judge it so much, becomes unbearable to live in, because we have now projected ourselves to wanting to become a certain new thing. And then if we don't fulfill that thing for whatever reason, if we don't fulfill that habit, it also becomes unbearable. So we've kind of set ourselves up in this particular roller coaster, going up and down with our feelings, the way we feel, the way we maneuver and ground ourselves into this life. But what if we introduce a new perspective into this? What if I told you that right now, the way it is, without having implemented any of these habits or these new ways, you are good enough. Everything the way it is right now, it's okay. Yes, we see immediately that there are rooms to improve particular things in life, but can we realize that this very moment right now, as we breathe, as we are listening to this, as we are seeing anything around us, as we are feeling anything around us, this very moment right now, can we see its completion, its completeness, its wholeness? Can we approach implementing new habits with a mindset of wholeness, of completeness? Can we approach it without feeling as though something is lacking? Entering a new change in life with a sense of wholeness and completeness gives us the inherent confidence that allows us to push through any resistance anywhere. Instead of fueling our desire to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning with just pure motivation, which isn't long-lasting at all, we now do it purely based on inherent confidence. The fact that we know we are good enough, no matter what the situation. But the only reason we do choose to implement these particular habits is because we want to change the ambience of our life, the surroundings of our life. We want to change maybe the house we live in, we want to change maybe the car we drive, or the position we are in, or the way people see us within society. All of these things can change by implementing new changes in our life. But one thing that can't change is now, this moment. It can't change. If you're thinking about the future, you can only do it right now anyway. You can't travel in time into the future. If you're thinking about the past, you're doing it right now anyway. This is all there is. So never neglect this. Never undermine this. Know that this is complete. And then approach whatever part of your life that you'd like to change. I hope that you found some value into this. I hope that you have understood where I'm coming from. And as always, if there is any questions you have, feel free to comment down below. Make sure you like, subscribe, share this to whoever's been telling you about this new habit they're about to implement, which will change their life or has already changed their life. See what they have to say. And aside from that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.